Few places in New Jersey are more iconic than its shore. You may be familiar after seeing its beautiful beaches, or maybe just from its trashy TV. I grew up close to the shore, and my favorite part is probably the boardwalk. The mix of arcades, restaurants, and souvenir shops is just so eclectic and iconic to me. I've been to many boardwalks in my time, but the classic Seaside Heights is still my favorite one. Of course, there had to be Pokémon in the Enjey region who could be perfectly at home with both the beaches and the boardwalks. A mix of oceanic Pokémon and Pokémon inspired by the seaside culture. This is definitely one of my largest batches of Pokémon for this project. So, without further ado, let's meet them! Let's start with Enjey Wingull, the seagull Pokémon. It's a dark and flying type. It snatches snacks from unsuspecting tourists, more than happy to chow down in front of their victims. Obviously, Wingull here is inspired by the seagulls we get here in New Jersey, but I specifically designed it off of my personal favorite, the laughing gull. Laughing gulls have signature black heads and an iconic laughter-like call. Here, take a listen, they're very cute. Some people find them annoying, but I adore them. I think they're cute and fun to watch. The dark head of the laughing gulls also lends this Wingull to looking like a masked bandit, further enforcing that thievery vibe. Almost everyone I know has had a snack stolen from them by a seagull. Heck, in elementary school, I actually saw a seagull make off with a kid's entire ham sandwich. For a little more difference from the Hawaiian seagull, this one also has some red accents, meant to look like it's being caught red-handed. It even has a ring on its beak to call back to another local seagull, the ring-beaked gull. This little birdie was one of the very first Pokemon I designed for the Enjey region, and I think it embodies our shore's ecosystem in a fun and charismatic way. Wingull in the Enjey region evolved into Pelipilfer, the Snatcher Pokemon. It keeps the dark and flying type. In collaboration with Wingull, it can steal entire pizzas from a human and gulp them down in one go. Pelipilfer is kind of like a honchkrow figure to the Enjey Wingull. It's just a diurnal version of the concept. It's no secret that pelicans are also hungry, eager little birds, known to try to eat just about anything they can bite. A popular food on the boardwalk is pizza, and while I've definitely seen birds eat slices, I haven't actually seen them eat a whole pizza on their own. Perhaps in the Enjey region, that would be a lot more common. Pelipilfer is a lot bigger than real pelicans, after all. Its design further reinforces the theme concept, now having a mouth shaped like a cartoon money bag, complete with the Pokemon money symbol. If memory serves, I think Pokemon money is called Pokken, but if that's not true, correct me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And of course, the tips of its wings are red, once again being caught red-handed with your snacks. Honestly, this design also took a little bit of inspiration from the classic Hamburglar character from McDonald's, another classic American food icon known for stealing things. Pelipilfer is a very funny Pokemon, and I think it totally represents the relationship between tourists and our local wildlife. Its name comes from Pelipper and Pilfer. Another iconic part of the boardwalk, at least every time I go there, is its arcades. So let's meet some Pokemon who take inspiration from those. Meet Gachapon, the chance game Pokemon. It's a steel type. It disguises as a coin-operated machine, hoarding coins for itself. Sometimes it dispenses weird items. This little cutie is, of course, inspired by Gachapon machines. If you don't already know about these, Gachapon machines are simple games where you put in a small amount of money, crank a crank, and receive a random prize, usually in these adorable spherical capsules. Honestly, to me, the capsules have always been the best part. I just like having them. While walking around in the Enjey Boardwalk, you might see some arcades, and if you look very carefully, you might spot a Gachapon disguising itself as one of the games. That's how you can catch one. Gachapon's name is a pun on Gachapon, the invention, and Gacha, something you might say when winning a prize or catching a Pokemon. Give your Gachapon some candy, and it might evolve into Vendesuite, the candy game Pokemon. Vendesuite is a fairy and steel type. It produces little snacks for other Pokemon and trusted humans. It launches hard candies at its foes. As you can see, Vendesuite takes inspiration from gumball machines and other candy dispensers. It picks up the fairy type to reflect its food-related theme, and its whimsy in giving out treats. My goal with Vendesuite was to make a creature that embodies the childhood ideal of a Candyman, someone who benevolently gives out treats to others. Vendesuite comes from Vend, to sell like a vending machine, and sweet for both its candy and its personality. However, if you give your Gachapon toys instead, it could become Clawcha, the crane game Pokemon. Clawcha is a dark and steel type. It ambushes boardwalk tourists at night, grabbing them with its sharp claws. It likes to collect soft toys. While Vendasweet and candy machines will always give out something to those who pay, crane games don't. They're famously unfair. These games are a lot of fun, but you do gotta be careful, otherwise you'll end up spending all your money and not have a lot of prizes for it. Clawcha is a sneaky and mischievous Pokemon who loves to cause trouble. However, you can earn its favor and trust with one simple thing: toys! Give it some gifts, and Clawcha will add those toys to its beloved collection. It's kinda like the opposite of a real crane game. These guys take toys instead of giving them out. Clawcha was actually the very first Pokemon I drew for the Enjey project, all the way back in 2021. So I'm happy to finally give you a proper introduction to them. For fun, here's a little bit of beta art for them, and I think they've come a long way since then. Their name comes from Gachapon, Claw, Gacha, and Caught. So that's a lot of puns all in 2 syllables. Honestly, probably one of my favorite Pokemon names for the project. Another game-themed Pokemon you may meet on the boardwalk is Enjey and Wobbuffet, the knockdown Pokemon. It's a fairy and fighting type. It enjoys having things thrown at it. It bounces back with a smile on its face. This Wobbuffet is based on the classic carnival game of throwing baseballs at little clown heads, which felt like a fun reprise of Wobbuffet's punching bag theme. While Jotonian Wobbuffet shares a type with the move Mirror Coat, Enjey Wobbuffet shares a type with the move Counter instead. While I feel like Jotonian Wobbuffet is a Pokemon often portrayed with a neutral disposition, I think this one tends to be more jolly and silly in nature, while also having a good laugh. After all, clowns are supposed to be good sports about being the punchline. At least any good clown, anyway. I think this is a fun take on a boardwalk Pokemon, and it's neat tackling the challenge of a regional variant with a Pokemon that is so specific in its niche. I'm really proud of how this guy came out, so let me know if this Wobbuffet would be making it onto your team. When you get a snack on the boardwalk, you might encounter a Snowscoop, the icy treat Pokemon. It's an ice and fairy type. 3 tiny Pokemon work together, gathering sweet ice around their bodies to increase their power. That's right, their true forms are unknown, since they're always wearing sweet ice. Snowscoop is inspired by one of my favorite summer treats, Italian ice. Also called water ice or even snowballs in some regions, Italian ice is a finely ground up icy treat with flavorings added. Think shaved ice, but with a more ice cream-like consistency. I highly recommend trying it sometime, especially if you're also in a heat wave right now. I adore candy and food-related Pokemon, so I'm excited to add my own spin on this tradition with a summer treat of my own. These 3 scoops resemble not just an ice cream cone, but also a classical snowman. This is a simple Pokemon that I just had a lot of fun with. Snowscoop's name comes from snow, snowball, and scoop. Let's meet another regional variant. This is Enjey Gimmighoul, the chip hunter Pokemon. It's a fairy type. It amasses a collection of poker chips in its den, trying to collect a wide variety of colors. They're considered bad luck at casinos. Atlantic City is pretty famous for both its casinos and its boardwalk, and Gimmighoul is here to represent them. Unlike the original Paldean form, this one hunts poker chips instead of ancient coins. I like to imagine them as sneaking into casinos, stealing tons of chips, and then being shooed away by bouncers and dealers who are tired of having to get more chips. If you're lucky, you might find one on the boardwalk and catch it for your team. If you're even luckier, you might discover a hidden stash of chips to give to your own Gimmighoul that will help it evolve. Once it collects 999 chips, Gimmighoul evolves into Ghouldango, the chip entity Pokemon. It is now a fairy and steel type. Each Ghouldango has a different color composition based on the chips it gathered as a Gimmighoul. It has a competitive but friendly disposition. In a game, I think Ghouldango would have similar mechanics to the alchemy variants, where the items you give the Gimmighoul will influence the appearance of its final form. Most Ghouldango have a lovely assortment of colors, but dedicated Pokemon and trainers might be able to help a Gimmighoul evolve into a Ghouldango with only one chip color. What colors would you pick for yours? Let me know in the comments. I like to think that there would be lots and lots of possibilities here. Another Pokemon you just might meet in the casino is Enjey, the question Pokemon. It's a water and psychic type. It uses the dodecahedron it carries as a tool to interact with objects, throwing it at things curiously. This little guy is inspired by the Magic 8 Ball, a toy? Where you can ask yes or no questions to. Just like the game you would play with the real thing, Enjey is a curious and inquisitive Pokemon. I think it'd be so fun just to watch as it looks around and chucks its little dye at things just to see what happens. The body of Inquiry is made up of blue water, just like the interior of a Magic 8-Ball. That dye, too, is actually where the answers on the Magic 8-Ball really come from. They're such interesting little gizmos. Inquirate's name comes from Inquire, 8, and White, like a ghost. With a little time and training, Inquirate can evolve into Infinite, the all-answers Pokemon. It keeps the water and psychic typing. A highly intelligent Pokemon that loves playing games, it's even taught games of its own invention to humans. Infinite is a Pokemon with a plethora of inspirations, so let's just start talking about them. Most obviously, Infinite is a continuation of the Magic 8-Ball concept. To further that, the magic orbs floating around it are meant to look like other billiard or pool balls, specifically the numbers leading up to the 8-Ball. And of course, Infinite also takes inspiration from tabletop RPGs, with a D20 in hand and its intelligent, playful personality being like that of a game master. Heck, it even teaches others games, just like a game master does. As the perennial DM amongst my friends, of course I had to make a Pokemon based on that experience and my love for running tabletop games. Infinite as a Pokemon is a love letter to the fun of games as a whole. Its name comes from infinite and 8, referring to how 8 and infinity use the same symbol but rotated. Alright then, let's return to the beach one more time for our last Pokemon of today. Let's meet Rotwraith, the Globster Pokemon. It's a ghost and poison type. This Pokemon is rarely seen, but it reeks to high heaven. It's thought to be the spirit of a water Pokemon. Rotwraith is based on a globster, a phenomenon where some unidentified organic matter washes up on a beach and looks like a new creature altogether. Most of the time, these are actually just the bones of whales, with unusual rot giving them their shaggy appearance. And while I haven't actually seen one in person, I've heard that they smell horrible. There's just something so delightfully cryptid-like about the way globsters look, and the fact that they inspire the imagination so much. Gosh, the world is weird, and I love it. I think Rotwraith would be a very rare spawn on the beach. In an overworld spawn-style Pokemon game, its size would be crazy. After all, it would be the size of a small whale. I'm just a big fan of this huge, stinky beast. Rotwraith comes from Rot and Wraith. And there's our Beach and Boardwalk Pokemon. It's a big batch, but I'm not sure if it'll be as big as next month's group, which will be the Wetlands Pokemon. I suppose you'll just have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to support me, this is my last chance to remind you that I have a Mothman Pride Stickers project happening this month. In fact, it ends on Tuesday morning, so you've only got a few days left to go support it. If you want to get some stickers, pins, or sticker sheets of your own, why not check out the project? I'm very proud of how these designs came out, and I'd love for as many people to get these as they can. If Pride Month is over by the time you're watching this, you can support me on Ko-fi too. You can just follow me on there for blog updates, you can support me monthly, you can check out my commissions, or check out my shop. I have a lot of things on there for you to check out. And with that, I believe that is all that I've got for you guys today. So thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all again next month with another one of these, and next week with a different art video. And in the meantime, why don't you all go out there and make some art.